What's up, everybody? Josh and Jay back with the podcast on a Monday, getting ready to go into a Champions League Tuesday match in Salzburg. Excited to chat about that, but before we talk about the lineups and the prediction, Jay, I do want to talk about the exciting hire that we had today. I'm excited about it. Is the hiring of the Englishman Laurence Stewart, who is currently one of the technical directors over at Monaco Football Club in France. He is a veteran of the RB system, meaning, Leipzig and Salzburg and the rest. Spent some time with Everton, Man City, and with the FA. I'm excited to, bring a guy who is obviously a part of some pretty successful clubs on the development and selling side. I don't know what you think about him, Jay, but I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on our new acquisition today.
I don't know very much about the man. What's interesting about this is more about the Bully starting to put together what our franchise and what this club is going to look like, and it's giving us some indications as far as what he ultimately wants to do with this. Laurence Stewart coming from the Red Bull system, Christopher Vivell, we're still in talks with him to be able to bring him on. What these guys' defined roles are going to be as far as technical director, sporting director, I think that's yet to fully be determined. But it certainly looks like Mastermind Bowley is trying to build this out akin to Man City, the Red Bull system, and turn this into more of a worldwide multi-club entity, which is
that's exactly
super
exciting. Right? That's exactly it. It's definitely the multi-club model. Certainly what RB has done is definitely the template that he's clearly, catching on to. And I like it too a lot. We've seen with the development of, New York City FC, locally here in our little part of the world, that they're starting to gain some traction. Obviously we have the presence with RB Red Bull and Major League Soccer. So, them continuing to sort of expand that model is only going to be good for, the club in general and the brand, in the United States. So that's super exciting. For the record, I just think I admire Monaco very, very much, the type of business that they've been able to accomplish, specifically with the selling of players like Mbappe and Tchouaméni and James Rodriguez and Bernardo Silva. They got a really long list of guys. So if Mr. Stewart's been able to pick up, any tips and pointers from, guys that are doing business like that, it's only going to be good for the club.
Yeah, listen, I hope we don't have to sell too much of our talent. I don't want us to be a club like Monaco that loads up with talent, ships everybody out, and then has to go back to the woodworks to try to figure out who else we're bringing in to field the team. I'm not really sure if that's our future, but people who are coming from this type of system, I think it's great. I think building out this model, and I think it's interesting whether we're going to bring this into a direction where we're trying to pull in a little bit more of the U.S. fan base, potentially either acquire a club or develop a club in the U.S., or if they're going to be looking to get into certain markets in and around Europe where they're just breeding talent. The leagues maybe aren't super impressive or garner a tremendous amount of interest, but you look at Belgium, you look at Portugal, you look at certain areas of Europe that, again, just don't get quite that much attention. But if you look at almost all the major clubs around the world, there is representation from those countries. So it'll be interesting to see exactly how they do this. And to layer on from these two guys, Joe Shields. Joe Shields coming over from Southampton, previously at City, widely regarded as one of the best talent evaluators in the game. So, Todd Bowley's starting to put this thing together, which is super exciting.
Well, and getting a brain trust together with guys who know how to run football clubs. It's like the anti Washington Commanders model, if we could use an American football reference. He seems to be hiring the right people. Let the football people do the football business, which is sometimes the hardest part about doing a job like that. And I think Mr. Bowley's smart enough to know where he's most effective, and other ways where it's more effective to let the other people make the right decisions. But
let's hope so. Did you hear that story about Bowley when he came on board? I don't know if he went into the locker room or if he was speaking with Tuchel, and he's like, "Listen, I heard the most attractive brand of football is the 4-4-3," which would obviously not work. So hopefully
an
he's
extra
just
guy.
Yeah, yeah,
It's an
yeah,
extra,
yeah.
a little
Hey,
extra guy.
push the
You
envelope.
know,
Put every
well,
advantage you can get.
really,
I don't know
really
if
want to
that's true or
change the
not, but I've
game.
heard it. So,
Oh man, well, let's hope so for his sake that was not the case. So, moving along into the early kickoff tomorrow, 12:45 East Coast. So, make a note of that. We are headed to the continent. We are headed to Austria. We are headed to Salzburg. We all know that the first result was underwhelming. Quite a bit has changed with the club since then. Not to mention a new manager. So it's going to be interesting to see what we march out. I think we're going to continue to see a lot of turnover. I'll be interested to hear your take. But do you have any thoughts on Red Bull or thoughts on the travel, or you mostly want to talk about the boys?
I have some thoughts on it. This was our home game against Leipzig or against Salzburg. That was Graham Potter's first game, and that was after the delay with the Queen passing away, and it's an awkward way to be able to kind of get your feet wet with your new club. It was not a particularly impressive game. We went up, we gave up the goal, we ended up walking away with a draw. This is one of those moments, right? Like minus some goal differential, which I think we're leading in fairly handily. A win tomorrow, we win our group, we put this thing to rest, and we move on. We can focus on the Prem for a little bit. It's a big game. We're going into Austria. It's going to be a tough environment. It's going to be rowdy. We need to go in there and take care of business.
Got to be a business-like performance. All 3 points are paramount. Got to take the pressure off. Winning the group is essential. Controlling your own destiny is the key to being in a winning position in these tournaments. Obviously, being second best in the group is less than ideal for the draw in the round of 16, and we all know how that can go. Moving into how I think we're gonna line up. I was deliberating quite a bit. I think we're definitely going to continue to see turnover, and I don't want to say through any fault of his own, I was actually really deliberating on whether or not we'd give Kepa a rest. It's no indication of his form. I did kind of flip flop. I didn't know if I'd have Mendy back there, but I am going to keep Kepa in there, and then I have us lining up in the 3-4-2-1. Just make sure we got the right amount of guys out there, with Thiago Silva in front of Kepa, with Trevor and Dave to the right.
I'm changing up. I hope that Graham Potter learned his lesson. I think we need to be more attacking in this game. I think we need to take it to him, get out early, and be aggressive. I'm going with 4 in the back. I have Dave, I've got Trevor Chalobah, I've got Thiago Silva, and I've got Ben Chillwell.
Back 4. All right. Well, I'm moving up. Well, do you have Kepa in goal as well?
I mean,
Kepa.
I don't know how much we need rotation necessarily with keepers, and Mendy hasn't played in quite a while. I don't want to take a rusty keeper off the bench for a game that's going to lock this up. If anything, let's put him out there against Dynamo if we want to give him some play time.
Fair enough. And like you, I do have Ben Chilwell just a little further up the pitch again in the 3 center backs. I am actually changing up the midfield. I'm going with a Conor Gallagher or Jorginho combination in the heart of the midfield with RLC to the right.
Interesting. You and Jorginho, what?
Well, I mean, we're running out of guys.
Shocked.
Kova picked up a knock. I think we gotta, to your point, use the best players that we have healthy to take care of business. Look, Georgie's easy to pick on sometimes, but let's not forget that he is a high level footballer and he's experienced in these types of games and environments. So you can't feel uncomfortable trotting him out there.
Yeah, this area of the midfield is where I toiled over one pick on my entire lineup. The rest of this I felt was fairly easy. I put Kovacic out there. I mean, unless he's really dinged up, I want him out there. And I was really flirting with putting Chukwuemeka out there. I just like the way that dude looks. He's just this young stallion. He looks strong. He looks good. I think he's going to be one of these super underrated signings that we made in this last transfer window that ultimately is going to pay significant dividends. So I'm not going to put him out there. I'm going to put Ruben Loftus-Cheek out there. But if he falters, I think that Chukwuemeka is sitting right there, getting ready on the sidelines. And I think he'll be our first sub if we start to falter in the defensive mid. But I got RLC and Kova.
So you've got two in the midfield, and you're going with a front four. Why don't you just finish it out then?
I'm going 4-2-3-1. Up front, I'm having Gallagher at a 10. And then up front, I'm playing Mount, Pulisic, and I'm playing Mr. Broja.
I had a feeling that you'd go there. I agree with a lot of what you just said. Connor's on the pitch, beneath the attacking players. I think he's really going to spend some time in the midfield, but I've got Pooley, Sterling, and Mr. Broja as well. I think the youth will be served here. I think he's super, super hungry, and I think this is the time to start feeding him, because right now with Aubameyang, obviously not that he's not useful to us in the league. I just think the nature of this game and how we're going to need to really be the aggressors, really get out on the front foot. I think Mr. Broja brings a little bit more in the pressing model, the youthful legs, the willingness to put in the work. That's why I got him out there. And then I'm hoping that we can see some snap and some pop from the two up front players, maybe Christian and Raheem Sterling with the interchange. I think both of those guys can play either wing position, and we can kind of throw some different looks at them.
Yeah, I mean, again, this was pretty easy for me to put together. I think Aubameyang's a finisher. He's not somebody that's going to really put pressure on you. He's going to make good runs with good service. He finishes. We have not had good service. So I want somebody who's going to be strong, who could play with his back to the ball or play with his back to the defense if needed, play off the guys who are playing around him. I thought Broja was a very easy pick to go in there. I like his runs. He's fast. I think he's very threatening. And I think whoever it is, whether it's Mount and Pooley or whether it's Sterling and Pooley, having those guys play around him, I think it's going to be a nice combination. But I want to see us in this formation because I want us to be attacking. I don't want us sitting back. I don't want us playing sideways backward passes, keeping 70% possession that is completely meaningless. I want us being very direct here and going after him and getting it.
Well, and to kind of to your point, when we were talking about the game against United, we need to really work those channels. Like really, what I'd like to see in my formation is the link up play between Ben Chillwell and either a Pulisic or a Sterling. I think that's where our creativity is going to come. Again, just based off of injuries and how we're set up right now. I think our right side is really gonna suffer, for the foreseeable future. But hopefully, we're not going to be dealing with too many problems from let's face it, a slightly less talented Salzburg side. But nonetheless, it is going to be a difficult environment, and I am going to take a 2-1 victory from Salzburg.
I'm going 2-0. I think we're going to keep another clean sheet. I think that back four will be enough to be able to hold these guys down. I think if we have enough defensive cover in the midfield and we have some pacey guys who put in the work rate, they'll be able to track back and provide support. I'm going 2-0 Chills.
2-0 to Chills. Well, I do like the picks. I think anything less than all 3 points, as we alluded to earlier, it would be a complete disappointment because it's time to handle your business. The good teams, put the teams that they have to put away. So hopefully they brought their lunch pails and they're ready to go to work. But I think Graham will have them fit, mentally ready to go, and hopefully we got our finishing boots on.
I sure hope so.
All right, bro. Well, great to talk to you as always. We'll be back, tomorrow night after the match for our reviews and thoughts moving forward. We appreciate everybody giving us a listen. We'll talk to you soon.